Anna.
I'm Ben.
AutoSave, welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 45. Baito is dead, and we are just two leather bags sat in chairs watching this show. You ready?
It's a sad existence, but a happy existence because we get to watch this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you have a feeling of, will we be following both brothers this episode? Will we see a reunion? Will we check in on other characters like we did with Ling/Greed last episode?
I'm thinking we're going to get 65% Ed. You writing it down? 65% Ed. 30% Al.
Mm-hmm.
And 5% Yoki.
Okay. I will remind you of that when the episode is over.
Good. If I'm right?
Yeah, and if you're wrong, we'll laugh at you. Wait, of course this is where
I've never been
go.
happier to be wrong. Oh, man. Oh, look at Selim's face.
Craves even the past.
Oh my god. Oh! Woo! Oh, the shadow on Bradley's face. Oh, it's back. Oh my god. What is Selim thinking?
That we need to make a new greed, apparently.
Oh!
Never go into retirement.
Is that the piano sister? Oh my god.
Oh. Trying to get her family out, maybe?
Oh, look at his portrait.
But to see who will be the successor? She's like, oh, hell yeah. Right now, let's go. Come on, understand the why.
This is amazing. Here?
They're probably used to walls breaking and stuff.
Catherine. Catherine Mei Chang friendship?
No!
You already tapped.
Let's all get elephants. Laughs in
Jesus
rich.
Christ. Oh my god, Olivier.
He's like in the fireplace.
She's so fucking cool, man. Take pride in your sister. Come on, Alex.
getting an answer from her not answering. It's the same with like her and Ed in their conversation all those episodes
Yeah.
ago.
Mei Chang!
はい深夜
砂漠を越えてか
女の子一人で砂漠を越えるのか
はい
おいみんな半端だ食い物でも何でも出して
Oh my god!
そんな
一晩泊まって明日出発したらどうだいうちでお風呂入っていきなよ
お腹空いてねえかそうだスティーブ
She's not gonna want to leave. She's not gonna want to leave these people.
ある
こっちの猫ちゃんにも何かあげ
That guy kind of looks like Gluttony.
勝手じゃないよそんなことないわよね猫ちゃん
ほらうまそうって
いいやつらだね見捨てるのかあそれもいいけどねでもセントラルに行けば本当の不老不死の方
Oh no.
ここの連中も助けられるかもね
Oh.
まあいいやこれから国に帰るお前には関係ない話だもんね皆さんここありがとうございますセントラルに行ってくれればこっちのもんだ
Look at what you've done.
賢者の石さえあればまた変身できる石さえあれば
If only I had a stone.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
What a shot.
If I only had a stone.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
An earring? Catherine is saved and Mei Chang is going to Central.
ここは
Oh,
We're
wow.
traveling in groups of 3. The 3 Armstrongs here, Mei Chang, Envy, and Xiaomei.
俺には手に取るようにわかるぜあるなら必ずここに
おい誰もいねえじゃん当てにならん兄貴だな
Mr. Ho? What?
いやグリードか
Oh, he's hungry.
あら
Feed the poor man.
リンダ
It's Ling. What?
非常食が空っぽだ
そち
Uh-oh.
らさんはお仲間さんゴリさんとはい
ダリウスだ
Darius and Heinkel.
元軍人だが訳ありでこのガキと一緒に行動しているこいつ何者だ
How to explain
なん
this?
て説明したらいいかホムンクルスだよおいおいそんな軽くグリードのやつがホムンクルス組と縁を切ってなその時の動揺に乗じて体の主導権を取り返した
Alright.
セントラル近くで隠れられる場所を探してここにどうしたまずいグリードが出てくる
I don't know how worried about that we have to be right now.
エドセントラルの地下にいるあのお父様とやらが来たるべきその日に扉を開ける俺の素人考えだがそこにお前たち兄弟が飛び込めば二人とも元の体に戻るん
Jump
じゃないか
into it when he opens it.
We want it to be open then.
それはそうかもしれないけど
The butt.
扉を開けるには通行料が必要で扉開けるのに決まった日があんのかそれはおいくそ伝言ランファにあの伝言を渡してくれたか伝言アルが渡してきたランファは無事だ今はどこにいるかわかんねえけどそうか
Oh. Ling. Ling.
He didn't want to go yet until he asked.
ここまで
Asking about Lanfan.
邪魔したな
おい俺たちのこと見逃すのか
見逃すも何もさっきこいつが言ったろ
He split.
と手を切ったって戻ったって何をされるかわかんねえだからこのままとんずらぶっこいて気ままに生きていくさ一人でな
No, not by yourself.
仲間にならねえか
Friends, family.
行くとこないなら一緒に来いよ
Say yes. Say yes.
仲間ね
Please pal up.
Please.
What would Baito want you to do?
You wanted to work for me. I would say that's not a no.
Ed really feels like he's grown up.
だったらエドたちと仲間になればいいだろ嫌なら俺にこの体を返せ。俺が真の皇帝になってその虚しさを埋めてやるよ。
一国の王ね。
でかいだろ。
ガキが小さい小さい。
Small potatoes.
どうせならよ。世界の王になる。
King of the world. Yep.
なんだしつこいな。俺はグリードだっつうの。
ああもうどっちでもいい。めんどくせえからあグリリン。
おい誰がグリード。
Greeling.
ってやるよグリリン。
はあ。
俺様がお前の手下になるっつって。
Oh my god.
行こう俺にくっついてるこのキメラなおっさんたちもお前の手下。
They're like, did we agree to this?
This is when he needed to be approached. The second that he reached for the ruler of the whole world.
Lost all pride.
God.
愚かだな。そうやって劇場に任せて貴重な情報を失うか。
Oh my god.
面白い。俺の部下になるってことは仕掛け者だぞ。
Oh.
後悔すんなよ。
なめんな。後悔することに関しちゃいい加減持ちだぜ。
なんだそりゃ。
Yeah, what the...
決まりだ。ああ、もう勝手にしろ。
飯食わしてくれたら誰でもいいや。
お前ら何の決めらよ。ライオン。かっこいいじゃねえ。
預かりっぱなしだ。
One for each of us.
ある意味しばらくは
Squad earrings, please.
来たるべきその日か。
We're not Greeling's men, we're technically Winry's men. All of matching earrings.
Greeling's earrings.
泉さんが帰ってきたらこっちから連絡しますから。はい、カーティス精肉店。ああ、毎度どうも。ご注文のやつね。
また来る。
たまには客として来てくださいよ。
You think it's Izumi?
The person on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
フォンス君とホーエンハイムって人から伝言がありますよ。
そうか。
Oh.
そいつは大掛かりなことだな。
Love the phone tag. Who we calling Miles? Like, who we calling up here?
Kimberly?
Oh! A housewife!
謎の女による山岳
Oh, her being at Briggs.
20年ほど前の事件と同じだな。
And it's
Oh
the same
my
woman.
god.
ストロング少将が帰ったら殺されますな。
Yeah, she will. And you'll love it.
黒メガネ、反り込みシュバール系とモヒカン巨漢の軍人さん。話に聞いた
Just like they told me.
たま何者だ。
だから通りすがりの主婦
Just a housewife.
あるからの伝言を持ってきたね。人払いお願い。
はい。アルフォンソ
This is so cool.
約束の日だそうです。
Oh.
それはちょうどいい。面白くなってきたね。
So Grumman isn't dressed up when he's at home alone.
Does that surprise you?
やっほー、レベッカちゃん。
Rebecca.
相変わらずいい腕ね。相変わらずいいおし。
クラマン中長、何してるんですか。
戦場で隙を見せちゃいかんよ。
I
時
mean,
に君、ホークアイ注意と仲いいよね。
Both good snipers.
friends with Hawkeye.
It's a good reason for a visit, you know?
Mhm.
They're friends. Long time no see. Makes sense.
私にもセントラルのいい男紹介してよ。はい。いいよ。
Mhm, mhm.
お前のご主人は冷血だ。ケチだ。
What about Armstrong? You know?
ハボック少尉にくれぐれもよろしく。了解。
The collar.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering where the relay of information was.
This is so cool. I love the passing of information.
東部の病院に移ろうと思ってるんすよ。
さあ、寂しくなるわね。
ありがたいっす。ちょうど切れてたもんで。
じゃあまた来るわね。
どうも。
もう心配してたわよ。
あー、はいはい。
I love when the person who's getting the information doesn't realize they've gotten information until the other person who gave them the information has left the room.
何も隠れることないのに。
It's gonna be Roy who notices it.
うめえ。大佐も一服付き合いませんか。私は。まあそう言わずに一本。
Just one.
Oh, look at it.
Oh. Yes.
年を越して来春。約束のその日。北も東も動く。
Yes! I love when the outro comes in at the end of the episode.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Does that count as 5% Yoki? Oh, man. Scar. Ugh. They're not wearing earrings yet.
All I can think in my head is you're gonna lose.
You didn't. Oh, okay. Oh, thank God. Yes. Okay, that was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, episode 45. That was an extraordinary episode.
I think one of your percentages was pretty spot on. I think 65% Ed. I feel like that it was probably around that, and then all of the other characters that we visited probably made up the rest.
I don't know if it was 65% Ed. I'd say like 45, maybe.
Like a half and half thing, like half Ed and then the other half was like spread out between different characters.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that it was. It really felt like everybody was coming together in such an organic way, and such like a, oh shit, this is the fruits of our labor for the past like 15 episodes, building everybody up in the specific positions that they are, so that almost like these strike teams are ready to act.
I think that it's fun if you think about Greed as he's walking away from Ed. He starts to think about how alone he is, and this idea of this family that he had built up, and all of them being gone now and dead. And we have what we see in this kind of montage of all of these characters that are within this story and that are all on the same side, on the same team. They are all isolated from each other for the most part, or had been previously isolated from each other, but they're all still fighting together. They're all still fighting toward a main goal, and they're finding ways to communicate. And even though they might feel like they're alone, like how Fallman probably felt when he was first sent to Briggs, or some of the other men, or Havoc in the hospital, you know, you might feel like you're isolated or alone. Hawkeye, you know, being right hand to Bradley. You might feel like you're alone, but you're not. And now none of the characters really are.
Mm-hmm. I loved when Ed decided to reach back out to Greeling, right? I think that Greed saying no, turning away, being like, the only way I'd, you know, pal around with you is if you were one of my underlings. And then going forward, we had that last plea from Ling about sticking around with Ed. And Greed takes that and decides to go the other way tenfold. Like, Ling plays it smart and has the other option being to have power and control over a massive group of people. And Greed rejects it and says, no, I'm going to go after the whole world. That is the point that Ed needed to come back into the situation, or he would be too far gone.
It's reminding him that he wants everything.
Yeah.
You don't want to be alone. In the same way that Bradley... We have that idea of the line at the very beginning, you crave even the past, is said to Greed. He wants everything, and Ed stepping in there when he's kind of reigniting who he actually is as Greed, the homunculi, and what Greed stands for. He's being reminded he wants everything. Why deny himself that family and why keep himself as this loner, as being alone and feeling alone when he wants everything, even the whole world in his grasp. And I really loved Ed's line about he lost all of his pride once he became a dog of the military.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's why he's okay here with like becoming an underling of greed,
But
Greeling.
I know, again, like I had said this and I feel stupid saying it about it, almost feeling like there was a time skip, but I'm not being literal with it. And just, I know I've always loved Ed ever since I admitted like a while ago that I feel like I had underestimated him as a character, and I was wrong for that. And I love Ed so much since then, especially. But Ed is just every episode that he's in just goes to show how great of a character he is. Referencing the past that he did with Greed in his conversation, specifically where Greed even is right now as a homunculus, is so important and was such an intelligent move to make, and was appealing to every right side that he could have appealed to. And I'm so proud of Ed, and I love watching him on screen.
I think the reason maybe that it's coming up for you in conversation and in thought here about Ed and who he's become and who we're seeing him as is because I feel like it can be very hard to see the testament of who someone is becoming and who they have become when they're surrounded by somewhat of a security that is people that know and love them. And when you separate them out and completely isolate them from what has been the 40 something episodes of people that they've been traveling with, hanging out with, and you completely isolate them, normally you might see a character who loses some sense of self once the people that they are normally around have been taken away from them, hostages, separated. But we see Ed kind of standing on his own 2 feet. Yes, he's with people, but the security and the safety of those that he loves and cares about that he's normally traveling with are gone. And you're getting to see him just as Ed himself navigating the world and coming up with new connections and new friendships and new teammates, if you will. And I feel like that's the true, like, why we're being able to see him in a different way. We're seeing what was being built up, but it's being highlighted because the spotlight is on him because he's alone on stage.
It's like seeing like all these characters together, seeing one bright, huge star. And when that star is split up into at the end of the day, there are 4 stars in that core. And when Ed's separated, he's illuminating and shining so much as a character where you... I'm just astounded. Like, I think that you're right. You're exactly right. He is shining and shining so much brighter now that he is alone for a second. Like, that's where we can really see Ed as his own individual.
It's the resolve, and we're seeing it across the board with all of the different characters. In the same conversation we kind of started this discussion off of how many characters have been put in a position of being isolated and yet are still going strong.
Even Al, like, I loved seeing Al and Hohenheim's interaction last episode after, like, Hohenheim thinking about the feelings that Al probably has towards him, and how Al kind of goes against the grain there and shows what kind of person he really is and that he's become.
Mm-hmm. Like, we're seeing these humans while the homunculi and father are trying to restrict them, create hostages, cut them off from each other, separate them. We're still seeing them find a way. These ants that the homunculi view them as are still finding a way through phone tag, through just resolve and through hope.
Through each other.
For each other, that they're finding ways to communicate and ways to just stay strong. And I feel like it's something that isn't necessarily understood or anticipated by one who maybe can't fully understand the human experience.
Before we leave Ling and that interaction this episode and Greeling, I absolutely loved that the last thing that Ling held on to before switching back to Greed was making sure that Lanfan got that note.
Yeah, I had a star next to, and I wrote last Lanfan because I knew that I wanted to bring that up. The fact that he fights, obviously he says a lot and he gives really good information to the point that Greed's like, oh my god, he shared too much, but that he fights with all he can in that last moment because there's something else he wants to ask about, that he wants to say. He wants to make sure that Lanfan got his message, and that makes me really happy that he was so willing to struggle there in that moment. This is so important to him. That idea of the underlings and how important the underlings actually were to Greed, I feel like is similar here. Like, he's a prince, and this was a bodyguard that was meant to protect him, basically. But the actual genuine care that is there for Greed to the Chimera that were his underlings, and then Ling to someone that was a bodyguard for him that was meant to protect him and fight alongside him, the care that's there, I think that's a really nice kind of parallel.
I can still see that arm strapped to that dog.
Oh, yeah, that poor dog.
So we bring up the idea of when the door opens, if Ed and Al go through it, there could be a way to get their bodies back.
Mhm.
And then immediately, Ed's like, yeah, okay, well, that might be true, but in order to open the door, a toll's required.
Right.
And the idea of stopping the door opening is the most prominent thing. And in doing so, if you do stop the door from opening, you're not getting what you've set out to get.
Are you denying yourself the what is maybe the one chance you have of getting your bodies back? I like that Link phrases it first as like his layman idea of like, oh, you guys could just jump in when the door opens. And that, yeah, Ed's first thing that he says in response is the toll that is required. That's the first thing he thinks about. And I think that obviously just is another showing and reinstating of his values and who he is now, how he believes, what he thinks, the values he stands on, and that he's willing to continue living his life under.
He's not blinded at all by his desire. Not in the fucking slightest, because of course he's not. He's Ed. He's like, okay, yup, you're right, I could. But wait, the toll's required. But wait, there's a reason that I would benefit from getting the door open. That means that there's a reason that Father would benefit.
And what is the reason?
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that he's trying to wonder what the reason is for opening the doorway. But yeah, it takes me back like 20 or more episodes ago when
So
Ed and
good.
Al realized together, well, if it's gonna cost people their lives, we wouldn't get our bodies back.
Yep.
Like if it's gonna, other people would have to die for us to get our bodies back. No, thank you.
Man, I'm so glad that we got the names for the two chimeras, Darius and Heinkel, as well. I genuinely love the
Because they
chimeras
become
on
a
both
team
sides.
now.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense to have a reinstating of their names, even if they had previously been stated, because we have a character, Ed, that we're following, who wasn't using their names and wasn't remembering their names and was using, like, this is Gorilla Man. And so we are now a team, and that is why we're going to be clear on what our names are. And I think that this is a great team up.
I don't
really
think we're going to wear the earrings. I know that we
we
won't.
all just have, like, one Winry
No,
earring.
it would be so fucking cool if we were, but we won't, and I know why we won't. They're Winry's earrings, but still, it'd be so fucking cool.
And they hold this very, like, special place because they represent something. They represent not wanting to see her cry again. They represent that there will be a reunion in the future. We want there to be a reunion in the future. They represent so much of that, like, connected thread between Ed and Winry that they need to just be secure. If we see a shot of Ed having to fight and they fly out of his pocket and get lost in the sea or the sand or something, I will probably cry.
Yeah.
It makes me think of when I was like 15, 16, and I was at the beach, and my mom had a ring that she had been given by my dad when she was pregnant with me. And when I was like 16, she gave it to me, and it was like really special. I was so happy to have it. It was beautiful. And I was at the beach with someone else, and my parents weren't there, and I was throwing a ball back to someone that was in the water, and the ring just went into the sea. And I cried and cried, called my mom, crying, obviously. But that would be a fear of mine, is that
Did you
these
ever find
earrings...
it?
No.
That sucks.
Someone might have found it with a metal detector at some point.
When
But
I was a little kid, I would boogie board here and there, or like have soccer tournaments on the beach. But majority of the time that I got to go to the beach, I got my grandparents. I was like 9 or 10. I got my grandparents to buy me a metal detector so I could just metal detect at the beach.
So maybe you found it for me?
I did not find it for you.
I'm so
If I did,
so devastated.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But yeah, that would be a fear. Is
yeah.
these items, this jewelry that holds such a special importance is in his pocket, and if he's fighting, like, what if they were to like fly out? I don't think it would deter him too much, because I feel like that they represent the connection, but that doesn't mean that if they were gone, the connection doesn't exist any longer. So I don't have to be too worried about it, but I do want Winry to get her earrings back.
So if I was to tell you what my favorite part of this episode would be, I would imagine you'd guess it was seeing Olivier's dad and Alex's dad, but it wasn't. I'll get to that.
Okay.
Izumi going back to Briggs is so fucking phenomenal. I'm like, wait, her husband answered the phone. Where is she? She's doing better now, especially after the Hohenheim interaction. I guess she's just off screen there, whatever. Fine. No. Seeing her at Briggs meant so much to me. And getting caught just to relay the information in that way.
I'm
I
glad
love her
that
being involved.
I'm glad they have someone kind of keeping shop at their butcher shop, you know, for them. I'm very happy that their business hasn't gone under because they had to leave. But this idea of that introduction of the phone tag and the relaying of information. But yes, I feel like if you had given me some time to guess what your favorite moment would have been, I probably would have put 2 moments up there. And I probably, honestly, I would have had 3 that it would have been hard for me to figure out which one it was, whether it's like the Armstrong family, whether it's Ling/Greed meeting with Ed again, or whether it was Izumi getting to Briggs.
Yeah.
I feel like I would have had a hard time guessing which one it was because I think all 3.
The fight
are
was
very
great too at the beginning of the
possible.
episode with Bradley and Greed. It was phenomenal. I thought that it was gorgeous, and I was really interested in Selim's reaction to everything. 'Cause Selim really fucking...
He was thinking about intervening.
I know.
He had a lot of really interesting facial expressions, especially even after Greed had exited the building. He was like, his little hands went back into the shadow and he was just staring off into the broken window. And I think that was probably just to relay the message to us that Greed has been cut off.
Yeah.
Like he's not a part of the homunculus team anymore. But before we leave Izumi, I think that it makes a lot of sense that she's the one at Briggs relaying the information to like Miles.
It's such a good callback.
And they really admire a strong woman there.
Yeah.
I think that she's the perfect person to be there, and it's just so fun to have that.
I
relay
need
of information
Izumi
like
and
that.
Olivier to meet and like have a conversation, you know?
They even think about it.
Yeah. I loved Olivier's dad. He looks extraordinary. I love that he has a massive portrait of himself behind him. Or it could even be his father, maybe.
I feel like it's like an... Okay, so I was looking at it too. So
Gray
it feels
hair
like
looks like on the beard and
itself,
mustache.
and the hair behind seems curly and long. So maybe this is to show us that this is just such a long-rooted family within Central. Like, this is an ancestor's portrait.
Yeah.
That's how rich they are.
Uh-huh.
You know? That's how rich they are. They're all gonna get elephants.
Thank you, Catherine.
They can go on a vacation in a moment's notice, and they're just like, yeah, no questions asked.
Yep.
You want to take over as the head of the family? Okay, duke it out, fight, and we will go on vacation.
The only question asked was from Alex, deducing what Olivier actually was doing here, and I loved that moment.
It was such a nice callback to Armstrong Olivier meeting Ed when we have that exchange when we're seeing Sloth for the first time and we're trying to get questions answered, but he's having to be careful with how he answers it, but we're able to kind of perceive through the struggling of how to answer questions that there are answers within the questions, even if they're not being explicitly said. And to have a callback to that, she didn't need to say yes there. I think he knew.
Yep.
I feel very strongly that he knows that that's what, because why even pose that question to your sister like that? Obviously, you're already thinking that's what your sister did, and you're hoping for confirmation that that's what she did. And I think that he probably feels in that moment that he did get confirmation that that is what Olivier was doing.
I agree with you. One of my last things is just my despair and sadness. Like, I'm trying to cope with, like, I'm happy that Mei Chang will continue to be in the story, but at what cost? Her going to Central with Envy is terrifying.
She has to meet up with someone, right? Like, it's coming from a place of fear that I'm like, I don't want her to be entering into Central with Envy as her guide like this, because obviously I would be worried if that was the case. I really hope that she ends up being intercepted somehow by one of these other groupings of people. I think, Ed is kind of just outside Central, so maybe we could meet up with Ed and join that group. I really don't want Envy. Okay, it's a struggle because I love Envy, and if he had access to a Philosopher's Stone, he could look Envy again, and he could be awesome. But then we'd have to fight him, and he would be an obstacle. And I should not want that as a viewer, an obstacle to Ed and Al and everyone else in this story, all the humans in this story.
But you do.
But like, part of me kind of does.
You're ridiculous.
I am ridiculous.
Do you have anything else?
That I hope that if Greed can join our side, that Envy can too.
Oh my god, okay. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, subscribe. We hope to see you next time.